Welcome to What's the Effort?
What the F?
Hi, everyone. Welcome to today's episode. I always feel like the episodes are always special, but a little more special today. Nothing against the other specials. So today we have Moe Ameen with us, and I feel very honored. I'd like to say thank you very much, Moe.
I'm glad to be here as well. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.
Thank you. Moe is a man of many trades and many lots of knowledge. So I'm super excited that he's with us today. And I thank you for joining us. Say hello.
What's going on, everybody?
All right. And I would like to start. I usually start by asking a little bit about someone's background. So I want to know. Sometimes I kind of guess in my head about what a person might have been like when they were young. And I might be wrong and right, and I might be wrong. But I'm curious to know what sort of child you were. What kind of student were you when you were in school? You know, were you into karate, or were you into, what were you doing? So talk to us a little bit about your family background, like where you came, how you started, and bring us up to, let's say, the end of high school, that area.
Okay. All right. Where do we start? Well, I was born overseas in Kuwait by accident.
Oh, that's a surprise, because I almost said, I can tell you were born in America. Glad I didn't say that. You were born in Kuwait?
Yeah, my parents were there for vacation, and I came a little early, well, a lot early, but was born over there by accident. And then, of course, we went back like a month later to Pennsylvania in the States.
You were living in Pennsylvania? Your parents were living in Pennsylvania when you were, like, that's where home was?
Home was Pennsylvania initially. Okay. But my father moved a lot due to, business ventures. So he had restaurants, hotels, projects as far as real estate and everything. So we moved around a lot. We didn't really stay in one spot more than, let's say, 2 years, especially when I was younger, all the way up to about 12. But around 6 is when we ended up in Georgia, and we stayed in Georgia, but, moved around between Atlanta, middle Georgia, and a bunch of other areas as well, like Augusta.
Okay.
A lot of moving around. School was not fun because of that. But at the same time, I grew up a little bit differently than most kids, right? At the age of 8 years old, a school bus would drop me off at the restaurant or the hotel or wherever to, do your homework and get to work, and so, that was kind of.
Can I ask, I'm going to interrupt you for a second. Can I ask about the beginning? When you're born in a country like Kuwait, does that mean that you have citizenship or not?
No.
Okay.
Even if you live there for 20 years, you can't get citizenship over there.
Of
Kuwait's
that
a whole different country. So actually, at the age of 12, I went to Kuwait again, but I stayed there for 10 years.
In Kuwait?
Yes.
What was the background of your parents? Were they from Kuwait or?
No. So my father is Syrian American. My mom's American or Irish, whatever, American.
Wow.
And so I guess my father wanted to move back to the family because everybody ended up moving to Kuwait at that time, his side of the family. And, he got into military contracting over there. So he still worked for the United States. And then, of course, he had his own restaurants. So he started over there and his, just different projects, and got into flipping and continued on what he was doing in the States over there. He was just tired of the States. At that same time, though.
So does that mean you have 2 languages?
I do know Arabic. I cannot read and write it properly, but I can understand it. But there's 7 dialects, so it's kind of difficult sometimes. But I can speak and understand.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. So you had a bit of an odd beginning, just because you had to go to the restaurant to do your homework and such. But if you guys settled a little bit in Georgia, that would have been good. Yes?
Well, we still didn't really settle. Like, it's still every 2 years we moved. But it was basically you finished your homework and you got to work. Now, granted, we got paid for, working even at a young age. It was just way less than minimum wage at the time. It was
You
like,
were
oh,
working at eight.
yeah. So whether it was busboy or, in the kitchen, washing dishes at the time. By the time I was 10, though, I was pretty much full-time like cook in the kitchen. And now, you got to understand something. This is a diner that has, let's say, 360 items on the menu, like everything. Like if you're familiar with all like the big diners the back in the day, like they don't have them anymore. Like they have like one maybe in Atlanta right now. But like there's so many items on the menu, and to be able to at a young age to be able to do that, of course, you need to learn how to run around, and you need to learn how to cook every single item on the menu and prep them ahead of time. So like over a couple of years or whatever, I learned how to do all that stuff. And there were times where, let's say, the cook didn't show up, the actual cook, and you had to run the entire kitchen at like age of 11. And so I was pretty good with that. And in fact, my brother, he's 2 years younger than me. So like he's in the newspaper sometimes, at least like back then, like flipping omelets on like a Sunday for them. So it's like we were in the newspaper. We were like, what's the right thing? Like maybe not right for labor laws, but like, that's just how it was with our family. You just work.
Yeah.
You're part of the family. You're part of the family business. So
how many siblings do you have?
I have an older brother. All right. So my older brother, then there's my younger brother Ibrahim, and then my sister, and then 2 younger brothers as well that are in Kuwait. My father remarried, so that's six total. So
with your mom, you had an older brother, a younger brother, and a sister.
Correct.
All right, and then they divorced or not?
They did. I mean, that's part of the rest of the story. When we went to Kuwait, she couldn't stand it over there, so she went back to the States. Took my sister with her.
Yeah, I wonder why.
Yeah.
Sorry, I had enough, Saudi students, to understand the woman's place in that culture. It can be very difficult.
Kuwait's different. Kuwait's not like Saudi Arabia.
They can drive.
Yeah, they can drive. They're not as strict over there with that. And I mean, if you go to Kuwait now, it's basically like America Junior. Like everybody dresses the same way that America dresses. Like there's no limitations for women over there. So it's just Saudi Arabia that's strict.
Okay, but do they still expect a lot of children?
I wouldn't say, that's like an expectation. Like they're not going to expect that from any woman, or any family over there to have more kids. I think that's more of the older style. Maybe back in the day, that was a thing. Oh, you need to have like a football team or soccer team, not so much anymore, no. But, we do have anywhere between like 4 to 6 kids generally, even the next generation. I don't think my generation will be like that, but.
Well, I think it depends on where they grow up and who they fall in love with. Out of curiosity, I know this is jumping a lot, but did you marry someone from the Middle Eastern culture or?
No.
Okay, so she's American?
I married American.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you guys both your dad and you both fell in love with American type of people, women.
Yeah, but like just because I was overseas for 10 years, I still had more American in me, like no matter what, because I grew up here and I've been here longer still. I learned the culture and I learned, maybe the language, but I'm still, American at the end of the day. Like I want certain things and some of the culture I don't want. And some of it I really like, but at the end of the day, that's what's part of being multicultural. You take the best of both.
Yeah, I totally agree. Totally agree. So then you finished high school there. Is that right?
I did.
Okay.
So I went through the British system. Okay. Some might know this. It's called the IGC. This is kind of like the GED, but like the British version. It was tough because Arabic was still like a requirement in school, and I couldn't do Arabic, so I always had an excuse being American that I didn't really have to take the classes. But so I had to switch to the British system, and I went to a British college as well for my bachelor's before I came back to the States to do my master's. And so
What was your bachelor's in?
Business and accounting, double
Nice.
major.
And you finished that there?
Yes, I finished that in 3 years.
Nice. Good job. It's good to save tuition. And then
Well,
you,
it's not that expensive over there. It's not like here. So
oh, okay. All right. And you came here for your master's. Where'd you go? What'd you study?
Mercer, yeah, I studied at Mercer University in Central Georgia. Um, the reason why I picked it is because family was down here, and it was also the top 100 for business. Ended up
Nice.
mastering an MBA, Master's of Business Administration.
Yep.
Don't really use it. Don't really use pretty much any of my degrees. I kind of dove into business right away, even while I was doing my master's. Ended up getting my own restaurant at the time.
Really?
Yeah, at the time I didn't know about creative finance, but like we were already doing that kind of stuff because I learned from my father how he got into. I would see my father go from millionaire to zero and then zero to millionaire like all the time. Like that
Oh,
was the thing. Because he's not really good on the organization side, but he's really good at getting business and partnering with people.
interesting.
And he's fixed those skills over time, you know. But
Mhm.
it just you see that and you're like, well, how was he able to do it? And I'm like, okay, so basically you just need to find a partner who has the money and you have the experience and the knowledge of how to run a business. So that's, for example, a restaurant, and you buy a business together. That's what I did.
What kind of
You know,
restaurant did you open?
so it was a Chicago style fish and chicken restaurant. Wasn't exactly my preferred, but it was good because it was easy to manage and margins were good in that business. You don't need that much staff in it. It's more takeout than it is. And of course, it was really up to the investor at the time too, because he was putting his money and he saw something he was really interested in. It didn't really last long, only a year and a half, and let's just say we parted ways. Partnerships don't always work.
Hmm.
There was other issues because he didn't want to be really involved in the business, but he wanted to take the money. But we'll leave that for another topic.
Okay. At that time, were you still single?
Yes, I was.
Okay. Okay. And how did you, where are you now? You're not in Florida. You're in Georgia, aren't you?
Well, right now I'm in Florida.
Oh, you
Uh,
are.
yeah. Um, I'll be going back up to Georgia next week, but I live in Georgia, Central Georgia. Wife, 2 kids, a 3-year-old and a 1.5-year-old. Both of them are demons, but
Demons. Male demons or female demons?
male.
Both of them?
Yep, yep.
Okay. Wow. Nice. Well, is your wife hoping for one more, a girl maybe?
She wants another one. She's hoping for a girl, but you know, I'm away a lot right now, specifically because of the projects and stuff. And hopefully, we'll move down to Florida. It's just right time, right property, right everything. She wants a lot in the house. I want a lot in the house, and we haven't found the right one.
Got it.
Because you can find creative finance deals all the time, but it's like, do I want to live in that house? Not really. So,
Yes, that's
uh,
something I found out because when I was in Canada and I was looking to come, I thought, well, large community. At that time, we were under 4,000, and I was like, oh, should be able to find a creative one for me. And Mamadou stepped up, and he had a
mhm,
team, with his
yeah,
brother Mamadou and all,
I
and
know.
they put in the time, but they couldn't find one. And I thought, what's with
Yeah,
that? And then I've noticed over time that finding your own home as a creative deal is more difficult than people think because half your brain goes into I want what I want.
mhm.
And the other half is like, can't they all be creative? You don't want to do it if it's not creative.
Yeah. I mean, now we're thinking about building, just because
Nice.
we don't want a smaller house. We want a bigger house. And I want the ability, especially like with my branding and stuff like that, to be able to invite people over and host whatever we need to host, events, parties, whatever. Um, and you kind of need a bigger house, and the bigger houses that are available where we want to live aren't exactly the best.
Mm,
Uh, or they're maybe not up to creative finance because they say it's worth a lot. I mean, the house down here in Florida, if I were to buy one still, it'd be somewhere between $2 and $3 million, just
okay.
because of the size and where it's at and everything. And it's like, if I'm going to pay, $2-3 million for a house, even if I get it on creative finance, well, number one, it's got to be the one that I want. And number two, they're got to agree to it. And that's been the toughest part. And so like, maybe we're thinking about just building.
I think that's awesome. When you say a larger home, I have 2 to 3 million. How many square feet, or how many bedrooms, how many floors? Talk to us about the size. What do you think is larger?
No, I don't really. I mean, at least 5,000 square feet. Number one, kids, and if I have my office in the house, I really don't want it anywhere near the kids. That's just realistic, especially if I'm on Zooms and lives all the time. So having a house a little bit bigger so that my office is maybe at the farther end or maybe separate from the house. And then I also have a vision as well. So like my mom and my mother-in-law as well. Like if I'm going to buy a house, I want to make sure there's ADUs like they can get into when they retire. So like I want to make sure there's 2 of those. And that's what the hard part is. I can't find something like that.
With 2 ADUs, you're right.
Yeah.
Usually they might have one.
You can find one, but like I want to be fair for both sides of the family, because at the end of the day, like this is some of the cultural things that I've gained from moving overseas. You keep your family close. And so, they're both getting up there. Maybe not now, but maybe let's say 5 years, 10 years from now, they'll probably want to retire. And so at that point, it's like, well, here's a place. Don't worry about anything. Like it's taken care of. It's done. And so like that's again, that's one of the harder parts of finding a house. Kind of gets into things, but really just a big house, enough rooms that my wife can have her library and I can have my own, office / podcast area to invite people over, and enough room for the kids to not, be in the way. Then they can have their own section of the house, and Well,
are they going to be homeschooled or public or whatever, private?
So we haven't really decided. Like my oldest, he's 3. Like we could stick him in a school right now if we wanted to. We wanted to go the Montessori route. The only problem with that, there's no availability near us. Like everybody's full packed for like a whole year in advance, and so it's been tough on that as well. And so it's like we want to go the Montessori route, but even then, because my stepmom is overseas, is also a Montessori teacher, so I understand the complete Montessori way. It's better than, in my opinion, than regular school, but at the same time, homeschooling could be better as well. It just really depends on how, if I have somebody come over, or do I have, let's say, my wife learn the skills needed to be able to do it. And so we haven't really drilled that down yet, honestly. If we can't get a Montessori school, then we'll probably shift that way.
Gotcha. It's amazing to me how as soon as people get pregnant in certain areas, they'll sign up for certain schools. My cat's trying to break in. I'm sorry. I thought I had it taken care of, but he might win. Oh gosh, sorry. Yeah, so it's kind of funny to me that in some places the schools are so competitive that as soon as you get pregnant, you get on a list. I'm like, really?
Well, that's actually a really smart idea, because of the fact that schools, it doesn't matter where you are now. It's like it's tough to get in, period, unless it's a public school that's anybody can get in. The private ones or like the Montessori ones, the higher education ones, are tougher. They are.
Got it. Very interesting.
You don't know what you don't know, and so when that happens, you miss out.
Yes, exactly, and I can see why I think it would be exciting to build, because then you can design. Talk to us a little bit about. Well, actually, there's so many more things. Like, how did you get from an MBA to real estate? I know you've been doing luxury flips. Are you interested in building a luxury home? Because that's what you're talking about when you're talking about 5,000 square feet and 3 million. And there, it's not a ordinary home.
It's not. I mean, it's just the size of the house. It's no different than a regular single family. It's just bigger. But like, so, from restaurants, I went to e-com. Okay. And I did e-com for, over 4 years. E-com is where I made my first million. not the
Oh,
restaurants. Okay.
okay. What
Um,
were you doing in e-com? Tell us a little about that.
so I had multiple brands going on. The best one that I had was called Total Harness. It's no longer available anymore for many reasons, but and then I also had a
What did Total Harness do?
it was for dog harnesses and
Okay.
dog equipment and basically just for pets in general. It was an e-com store. It was primarily focused on marketing through Facebook ads and Google ads and stuff like that. So like the e-com side of things is easy to launch if you know what you're doing, just like any business, but it
Mhm.
still is like 1 in 10, 1 in 5, success rates. Um,
Which isn't bad, but it's still a risk.
yeah, but you got to spend a lot of money to get started. Like you'll find YouTube videos right now. Oh, go learn how to start up an e-com store and get rich from day one. Yeah, that's not the case. That's not the reality. The reality is you need to understand your market. You got to be a good marketer. You got to be wise where you invest and you need to know when to push more on, let's say, advertisement to grow faster, to not have cash flow issues, and to grow at a sustainable rate.
Right.
Um, but I also had other brands like athletic brands and stuff with other partners. Um, kind of, let's just say we had issues through advertisement between getting banned on social media. Uh, Something so stupid as showing skin in an athletic ad, like showing abs, for example, like that would get us banned eventually. um
Sorry.
we
You
yeah,
want abs, but I can't show them to you. But you
yeah,
can
exactly.
imagine them, right?
Yeah, I mean the marketing industry right now is honestly terrible because like we're under the uh how should I say it, like we're not the ones that's allowed to do what we want to do. We have to rely on Facebook or Instagram or TikTok or Snapchat or Google or their policies. And so when you're marketing to doing Facebook ads or any type of paid advertisement, you have to follow those policies. And even if you do everything right 100%, they could still ban you. And so we got banned multiple times. We had to restart a couple times. Um,
That must have been
eventually,
frustrating.
yeah. But it was good. But the reason why I got into real estate, so I continued actually econ for another year when I was in real estate. I got into real estate because of depreciation. I didn't want to pay the government, taxes on all the money I was making. What was the point? And when you're making that kind of money, they do take quite a bit, between like 40 and
Yes.
45%. So it's like you're really working for somebody else. And the
Yep.
whole reason why like I didn't want to just use my MBA and get a job is because I'd still be paying taxes and I'll be working for somebody, and that was not really my go-to.
Yeah.
So got into real estate, for the sole purpose of depreciation, but then ended up making more money in real estate than I was doing in ecom. And so,
When
like I
did
said,
you go into real estate, and did you join Sub 2 right away, or what did it look like? How did you find your way?
so I actually, the moment I said I wanted to buy properties and get into real estate, because it was sometime around January when I knew how much I needed to pay in taxes that year. And it was like, I just need to find someone. I'm really big on education. So like, I don't care. I'll spend whatever's needed. Same thing for ecom. I've probably spent like 40 grand in education and mentorship and whatever.
Mm.
Like it's okay to spend money as long as it's for education purposes. And it is ultimately a business expense. And so for real estate, I found Sub2. I found Pace, of course, on his social media. And I did not hesitate. It literally took me 3 days and I was already in Sub2.
Wow.
Just wanted to make sure that I was getting the right thing.
Which year? January of which year?
Ooh, 2 years and something, 2 years and a month, probably.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So
Gotcha.
not that far away. Um, and so got in there. It's funny because day one of joining Sub2, I found a Sub2 property that somebody was marketing, and I was gonna buy it. And I knew nothing about paperwork. I knew nothing about creative financing. I knew nothing about anything. And then I called 50 people in Sub2 that day. 50 people. Like I did not hesitate. Like I needed the assistance. That's what I did. And ultimately, I did not buy that deal. Of course, it was a bad deal, but I learned why it was a bad deal. Learned how to analyze the deal and comping and underwriting, because I didn't know any of that stuff at the time. Um,
Did you call
learn
50 people because you kept hoping you would hear it is a good deal, or just you didn't get a lot of answers and you just kept
Well, not a
going?
lot of people responded, or maybe only gave me a minute of their time, or let's
Got it.
say they said, "Oh, whatever, like call me back at a different time." Like I'm all about, I don't care what people think. Like at the end of the day, you're not gonna, you know, be there at my funeral, right? Like it doesn't matter. I really don't care what people think. I'm gonna do what I want to do, right? And if in order for me to achieve my goals, right, I need to do what it was required and not my best, right? And so I needed to find the answers. And when I want to find the answers, I don't care who it is. It could be Pace, it could be, Abraham. I will call them and I'll get my answer, right? And if they don't answer me, then I'll go find somebody else. Like that's just
Got
how
it.
it is.
Got it.
Um, no hesitation, because I know this is a common thing with all the new people that are in real estate. It's like you have a question, but you're hesitant to ask. It's like that's why you're not growing. Just ask the question, no matter how stupid it is. And for me, it was probably a bunch of stupid questions at that time, but so be it. Right? It was needed. But
Were you
ended up
like that
buying a
as
few.
a child? Were you like that as you were growing up, that you didn't hesitate?
Um, what's funny is because in school I was kind of like the teacher's pet. Yet when I got home, I was the instigator as a kid. So I like in front of people, nicest person in the world in the class, and then next thing you know, I'm the instigator in the back end. So it's funny. Um, I was also a introvert always,
You
like,
were. Okay.
but being in business and especially at a young age, that breaks it automatically. Um, yeah. So it's like it's hard in the beginning if you're an introvert and you don't like talking to people. Like it's hard to break that. But business, the experience, the failures, the success makes you stronger, makes you, be able to have conversations like these in front of an audience or whatever. Um, but really, it was like even my bachelor's, even because I was in business when I was overseas in Kuwait. By the way, doing with my bachelor's, I had a car business, I had a hookah bar, I had all those things.
Wow.
Still in business, right? With partnerships, and it was good, but at the end of the day, I wasn't perfect, and so it was like every time there was an issue, you had to find the answer. And so like now it's like, well, instead of you know go in full force and not knowing the answer, well, why not? Might as well ask for what you need ahead of time, and then go and jump in it. And then if you have more problems, just ask.
Got
Keep
it.
going asking.
Yep.
Um,
Yep. I see that
so
Donna says that she had to overcome that too, in putting aside what people think, unless it aligns with their principles. It's pretty common, right?
yeah,
You gotta get
I
over
had a
yourself. You
real
gotta get over yourself. You've got to get out there and do what you got to do in order to make things happen. Yeah,
yeah.
totally.
But like even this right here, like me coming out with BILT or me coming out for guys like the luxury flips, nobody knew me this entire 2 years. They knew my partner or whatever. I was in the back end. I was the integrator. I was the person who found the deal, structured the deal, made sure we knew exactly how much we needed to raise, made sure, all the details. But like I wasn't on social media. I wasn't branding myself. And
Hmm.
instead I had to change a bit and said, well, it's just some of you guys have seen my reels. You kind of know like what happens with partnerships, and I'm transparent.
Hmm.
But like you get to a point where you need to be able to do both sometimes in a partnership, and the branding wasn't there for us. So I said I need to be the brand, and so I converted to kind of a visionary instead of an integrator, and be more extrovert instead of an introvert. And this is me basically kind of completely all out as a visionary now, kind of like even in these conversations. But ultimately, I'm still that introvert. I'm still that integrator. I don't want to talk to people, sometimes. And, you do what you got to do, right, for
Yeah.
your business.
Yeah. So when you came in January and you had the sub two, but you didn't do it because you had the good sense to talk to a bunch of people. How did business take off from you, and how did you get into luxury flips? And we know you were an integrator on the back end, and Tony was the front. But talk to us a little bit about that initial time when you first came in? How'd you even connect with Tony and decide that you want to do those kind of flips? Because that's expensive.
Yeah, so I mean, I've seen flips be, done. My father was also like a contractor as well, so I've seen commercial, single family, didn't matter, being built from the scratch, right? I've seen them being renovated my entire life. I've never done one myself at the time. Okay. Now I didn't meet Tony till what 6 months in or whatever into real estate. At that time, I already bought a couple properties. I was slowly getting into it. We wanted to start a wholesale operations together, and he was already doing flips at the time. Now, flips as in, maybe because again, like it depends on what the location is. He was doing around $700,000-$800,000 flips instead of the smaller ones. But like he wanted to get into luxury, and I was like, well, I'm used to commercial anyways from my father. Like it makes no difference to me. Why let's do luxury. And that was pretty much the same time that we met. This was sometime around August, July, somewhere around there. I can't
Okay.
remember off the top of my head.
Yep.
But like that's when we started, and we got a couple deals done, and made some money, and we wholesaled and made quite a bit of money.
When you were wholesaling, were you wholesaling higher end homes or everything and anything?
It's funny because the ones that were higher end, we ended up buying. It's tough because there's not a lot of luxury flippers out there. And when I say luxury, just to kind of clarify for the audience, it's like between 1 million and 4 or 5 million. Above 5 million, we consider ultra luxury. So like we don't really want to touch that. We're not ready for that yet. But it's good to know like where your strength lies. And so it's like I say 1 million, but like most of them have been like 1.8 to around 4 million, the ARVs of those properties. And so like even right now we have 3 projects going.
Wow.
2 of them are on the market. One is being renovated, and we're looking to buy another one right now at the moment. Hence the live that I did this last weekend.
Okay.
So like we're always buying properties as in regards to the flips, but those are flips, right? You ultimately got to put your money back into properties. And so I'd say right now we're about 22 properties as far as a portfolio. Nothing too crazy, nothing too special. No Airbnbs.
Oh, that's interesting. Wait. 22 in a portfolio is nice. Is that is that you and someone else, or is it
between different partners? Like even now I'll have people come to me saying, oh, I don't have the time, but I have, let's say 30, 40 grand, and they want to get into a deal. I'm like, okay, I'll give you 50%. We'll just buy a deal together. Like between that and let's say me buying it because of a depreciation for my holding company, or let's say any partners as well, like Tony as well. So it's like you're going to continue buying regardless because you don't want to pay the government. So it might as well buy. We tried to get into multifamily last year. We got delayed with the 2 projects, got pushed to this year. So like, they're on the market. We're just waiting. But like, it would have been nice to get into multifamily. That's probably what we're going to do this year. Instead of buying single family homes, we're just going to buy multifamily.
Okay.
It's the same money at the end of the day.
Yeah. So. Yes, I understand. I do. I understand. That's interesting. So why not Airbnb?
I did it. I tried it in Atlanta and had problems because it was okay during that period of time. And then next thing you know, a new policy came out, no Airbnb, and we had to convert it to a regular rental. And so I don't want to be in that position again. And it's not about the cash flow anymore because we make good money from the flips. We make good money from, what we're really passionate about. And those are really just, the long-term growth, in my opinion now. I mean, don't get me wrong, you can make good money with rentals, but you need a large amount of them to really because you got to think about it. Creative finance deals between, let's say, $300 to $1,000 is a traditional rental per property. Maybe maybe some of them you break even too. And it's like, is that really money? Not really.
Yeah.
Versus us making anywhere between, let's say, $250,000 to $1 million in profits on one flip. It's like, it's a different story. It's like money's not.
How long do those kind of flips take, and how much money does it take to do it?
Like the one we're working on right now, it's projected to make $900,000 in profit, right? Now, granted, there are partners involved as far as private money, and they are getting a third of the project, but we still get out with 600. So, like, what does it matter? And so, like, those are the kind of deals we like to do. And it's really just it's a 2,000 square foot house, whether it's inland or on the water. The one on the water is worth 3 million. The one inland is worth 400,000. It's the same thing. And I guess the people always like ask me this all the time. Wasn't it more riskier? Well, like, isn't it doing any kind of business risky? Like, there's always some sort of risk involved, and it's like, what is your capacity of risk at that point in time? And then you can, it's like the same thing. It's like you'll find people who have only, let's say, 30 grand and they want to invest in smaller deals, and you find the people that have millions of dollars and they want to invest in bigger deals. They won't even touch the smaller deals. Like that, it's just who you know and who you find and who you want to partner with. And
right.
Yeah.
Interesting. Very interesting. So when you started turning a little bit away, or you're still doing luxury flips, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. But bring us up to date with BILT. Now, BILT, actually, before you do, I do want to share a couple of pictures here that we can have an idea of some of these homes that you're talking about. So this is a property. Is this the one that you guys were involved with or not?
Yeah, this one's on Marco Island. It's on the market right now.
Wow. So for our audience, you can see the house is pretty large. It's got a nice sized lot, and it has a full size pool and tennis courts.
Yeah, this is a 2,900 square foot house, or 2,800, and
okay.
It was completely gutted, completely. The entire tennis court was redone. The pool is existing, of course, but resurfaced, recoped, redone everything. Pool deck completely brand new. The entire interior of the house was completely gutted and redone.
Did you change the plan or just rebuild it?
Yeah, so we did change the plan. We moved the kitchen around completely. It was on one side of the house. We put it to the other side of the house. A lot of permits involved, a lot of headache, of having to do extra stuff that wasn't really needed. But overall, it made it a lot better as far as the layout. It made it more open. And that's some of the things, like the visionary wants to do certain things to a house, and the integrator's like, all right, let's just stay on budget. It's like the common disagreements sometimes in a partnership. But, you got to give and take, right? And so we moved pretty much the entire kitchen from one side of the house to the other, and gutted all the bathrooms and made one of the bathrooms bigger. I think the next, you have a picture of one of the bathrooms, but.
Yep, I'm trying. Darn it. Sorry. Yeah. I thought I had it, but it's not going with the arrows. Darn. Why not? Sorry, guys. Now you get to see how I am not as good as I need to be. It worked. Oh, the tab? No.
Yeah, just click on the picture.
Yeah.
Now hit right key. Because you're on edit mode right now. I think yeah, you're. Okay, you can just share again. It doesn't matter.
Okay, I guess I will.
Yeah, but
hang on.
Yeah, this property right here did have some issues. Like, no project goes without issues. It's funny because, like, the contractor on this one, and this is going to be a funny story I'm bringing out later, but we're suing the contractor for this property.
Why? And were you guys down there? That's a question I want to know. Did you have to? Were you there?
I was not there. I relied on Tony. I'm in Georgia, right? I'm more of the integrator. He's more as a project manager and at the projects. Not so much anymore, but at that time. And so, like, the contractor really screwed up on that one. So the pool deck that was redone in there had to be redone again. Because it was leaking to the downstairs bathroom. And so, like, we had to redo that. but it's good now. But
Got it.
it's just unnecessary delays.
Hmm.
Yeah, like this bathroom right here.
It's beautiful.
How, yeah, like it's nice, right? But like you got to understand something, like you can't just buy, let's say those shower systems, the 6 shower jets from like Amazon. You can't buy that stuff. You got to go to somewhere like Ferguson's and spend, like, that system right there in front of you is probably like $3,000-4,000, if I'm not
Wow.
mistaken. That's not even including, let's say, the tub and the tub spigot that's coming out. Like
Really?
it's not even including that. And
Wow.
then each square that you see down there at the bottom of a bathroom is like $20. And so it's like it adds up pretty quick. I think the renovation budget on this project was close to $400,000.
Okay.
Yeah, the one we're working on now is $427,000. The budget for renovation.
And that's with you guys being right there. It's not like just hiring somebody to do it and you walking away. So
Well,
you're
I
keeping
mean,
costs low.
even this one. I mean, we hired a main contractor, but we still had to be there every single day to make sure it was good.
Right.
This time around, I think on the one we're doing right now in Holmes Beach, we have more subcontractors. After dealing with the main contractor, again, this is going to be a fun story because like we are suing a main contractor, and I want to show the process of what that entails, as far as like from the beginning demand letters to legality to DPPR, which is like the Florida code of whatever for contractors, to the judicial court, state attorney, to like we have a meeting on the 15th as well to give our statement, and like just the entire process. It would be nice for people to see like what happens on a deal like that,
I
because
think
like
it would be very useful because I know of one student that I don't want to name right now, but who had been in Arizona and basically lost his entire business because a contractor screwed up, but they had better lawyers. So after going out through a whole legal battle, it went the wrong way, even though, it seemed like it would be cut and dry. So we don't get to
well,
see that
so
very
here's the deal with ours. It wasn't just a screw up. He also stole $150,000. Okay,
a
and
snake.
so yeah, so it's not easy, but we have proof of everything. No matter what lawyer they bring, he's still going to lose. Uh, because before and after pictures are there. Like there's no way we're going to lose this deal. In fact, we're suing him probably for over $1 million because of all the pain and suffering and everything along the way and
Nice.
delays. And so
But
it's like, again, like whether you're a contractor or a partner or anybody, friend, JV, like make sure your paperwork is correct and don't screw people over, because you never know that other partner that you screwed over will go to the end of the world to make sure that you get what you deserve. Like
yes,
that's not nice to anybody. Period.
no, I agree. I agree.
But to answer Donabelle's question, if I
Mhm,
pronounce that right, how do you
mhm.
find your partner? I found, so it's funny because I was on a podcast after one of my 2-week live challenges, wholesaling live, which I did for like 8 hours a day.
Yikes.
So I hopped on his podcast, and at that time I was struggling with dispositions because I'm not the visionary, I'm not a relationship builder. Things are different now, but like at that time, and I was looking for a partner. I was partnered with my younger brother, who's 2 years younger than me.
Okay.
And this goes to say, like, I don't care who you are, whether you're family or not. Like, if I have a vision, I have a goal, and you're not good enough, and you're not what's required, and your best is not what I want, right? You got to do what's required. So that lasted only throughout the 2-week live challenge, because that was him partnering with me at that time. That's when I found Tony, and that's my partner. I had like 4 or 5 interviews, and he was one of them. And we just partnered, did a deal together right away, like the next week, and made money on it and continued. That was really what it was.
Did you
We didn't
partner
do
right
any.
away? Because that's what I think Donna Bell is asking in her second part. Were they structured as JVs, or was it
Yeah,
a
they were JVs. They
oh,
were
they were
JVs.
okay.
So we actually, our first deal, we made $80,000 on our very first deal.
Nice. Okay.
So like that kind of lit the spark that I could rely on somebody to do the other part. Like I was acquisitions, he was, dispositions. And we could rely on each other to do our parts. Right. That was the most important thing to me. It's like if you join a partnership and you guys are both not providing value to each other right away, there's a problem. Like one person can't do it all. Like that's
Yeah,
not how it should be.
I know.
Um, and so it's like you want to prove yourself to your partner, right? Well, the best way to prove yourself is to bring a deal, right? And don't just talk and say, because I've had multiple people come to me saying, "Oh yeah, I want to JV with you." Awesome. Either A, bring the deal, or B, bring the money, or C, structure the entire, take one of my deals and structure it and whatever, do whatever. But it's like, don't just say you're going to do something, do it. And that's what happened. And so things went really, really well through that.
Got it.
We didn't do paperwork as far as like agreements and business and companies and LLC structure, anything like that until 6 months later, just FYI. We did date for 6 months.
Okay. Got it. I got it. And at this point, are you partnering with David? I see you and David a lot together.
Yeah. David ended up partnering with me and Tony on the flips. He provides something that, let's just say we were missing: attention to detail and precision and organization. Because I'm not in Florida, right? You got to remember that, though he is, and he's local and really close to the projects. And so he provides something that we can't, unless it's, let's say, me coming down and doing it myself, which would be tough. And so it's like he has an advantage and he has skills that, let's say, another partner does not have. And so that is ultimately always going to be an advantage for your business. Okay. Like, remember, when you're picking your partners, you want to find somebody that can do stuff that you can't do or you don't want to do. Okay. And that's what makes a really strong partnership. And so since, David's been on board, things have grown better, more efficient, things are just better overall.
So talk to us about BILT, because you are an integrator, and seeing that well, first off, BILT is an acronym. It isn't just the word built. So I understand it as building innovative logistics together. Am I right?
Yeah. This is something me and David came up with. So to put this in, proper perspective, Tony's not involved in this, right? Like, this is something me and David went through. Okay. Both integrators, both of us are really good with like certain things, certain aspects of things. And so this kind of goes back to like partnerships. Just because you have a partnership with somebody does not mean you have to go to the end of the world with them on every little deal. Okay. Yeah. You can do things with other people. And if they can't handle that, well, tough luck. Right.
I think that they should be able to, because you're not literally married. You have your lives, and you might be single and they might have kids. You don't worry about that sort of thing. You let them do and be who they are supposed to be. Two integrators together, though, that must have been interesting.
Yeah, I take more of the visionary role of it too, as well as the integrator. So like, someone still has to be the visionary. Someone still has to be out there. But part of doing business, right? But BILT is building innovative logistics together. It was supposed to be called building innovative or building something leads together. Like, that was our very first one. I was like, do I want it only to be about leads? Not really. But then logistics kind of means a lot of things. And I want it to be like doing deals together or doing any kind of business opportunity together. Right. So let's say somebody has a deal, they come to us, we're doing it together. Right. And then BILT is just, the acronym for it. It was really nice and simple and straight to the point. And it could also mean in like building, but just spelled differently, of course. So there's a lot of meaning to it. One of the things is like BILT, the CRM portion, because a lot of people know about that. For the substitute community, like, we basically, we're basically just giving it out for free, in a sense. And then for everybody else, we, it's not really the end goal, the CRM for us. It never was. It was to just give to the community something that because when I joined sub 2, I
Right.
was given everything. Whatever I asked for, I got it. Right. And a lot of people uh, gave me so much information, or templates or scripts or calculators or whatever it was, maybe a system, and they assisted me um, to be successful, right? Whatever it was, even if it was something small or big, it didn't really matter. And
Yep.
so you get to a point in your journey that your money's no longer an issue, right? And it wasn't actually never an issue for, because of e-com and all that stuff, but it was like between time and money, there's two different things, right? So like 2024, my journey is more like just giving back to the community that gave to me the entire 2 years. Um, and what way can I do it than what I'm good at, right? And so like CRM is something that I'm good at, that I could build and give to the community for basically free, and that
Nice.
would allow a lot of people to get into real estate faster and use these systems. Uh, Hence our low barriers to entry to get into real estate. Um, and then I went live, what was it, a month ago when I launched BILT,
Mm-hmm.
and gave everybody everything as far as like all my SOPs, all my templates, all my, whether it's project management for flips to raising money to the simple things like comping and underwriting and calculators, like how to hire a complete acquisition team for free, like whatever. I gave that all for free to everybody who attended my live and joined the BILT group, of course.
Yep.
And so it's like, we just want to give back now, because I know someone that succeeds and uses those tools or use whatever resource I gave them will
Mhm.
ultimately end up partnering in the long run and say, let's do a deal together.
That's very
Um,
wise, Mo. That's very wise. I feel very much the same way, and I had hoped to make your live, and I didn't, and I regretted it. But I joined soon thereafter at a
mhm.
slightly, just a little expense. But to think about giving back and helping, it makes a big difference. Now, this might sound like a little bit corny, but I'm going to say this. Last night on Pace's, updates, he decided that he would give a day with Pace to whoever was recommended by other people.
Mm.
And I was really surprised. I was a little bit floored that I got chosen, because I thought, oh well, a couple of people choose me, but it was more than a dozen, and I got chosen. And some of those people, I was thanking them today. I haven't even met, and but
Yeah.
they have responded saying, oh, you're the one that came to my mind because you always give, and I think what you're doing is great, and I like watching you and stuff. And I'm like, wow, you never know who it is that you're affecting, and it's an incredible honor to have been chosen. But in a way, it's like how it comes back. Like,
Yeah.
I've been wanting to be picked for that for a long time, but I don't believe in complaining. And a lot of other people were more deserving, and so be it. But I agree. I think if you don't keep your eye on the money, especially when you are making it, in other words, you're not at the beginning trying to pay the bills, because that's hard. Then you should be of more of a giving individual, because it will come back many times over, many times over. So I agree with you. Donna Bell says it gets back to you 100 times fold. I completely agree. And people
Absolutely. Yeah.
don't
Like
want to share
it's
their
for me,
sauce,
just to give
you
an
know.
example. I'm sure it's the same thing for you, Effie. Like if you go to a meetup, everybody knows, right? And so it's like, just
Yeah,
because you gave something, whatever, small or big, it didn't matter. Like they got something, and now they come up to you, and you're like, I gave you something value I didn't even know. Like I just gave it, like at that point. And so it's like it's pretty cool in a sense. But at the same time, like I'm glad that they got some sort of resource, whatever it may be, and that I was able to help them with their journey.
right. It makes you happy when somebody says, "Oh, by
Yeah.
the way, you helped me on something. You don't even know it." It's nice. It's like, "Oh, that's good." It's always nice when you help people. But um, I have always known it, but there was an example yesterday of it manifesting in a way I wasn't expecting. And Josh
Yeah.
Keating is saying he heard your name last week for
Yeah.
you being a giver, and great job there, Mo. I agree.
I
Um,
appreciate it.
so
Yeah.
what BILT is, in my understanding, is it's built on Go High level, right? Is that what it
Yeah.
is? And that
Yeah.
CRM is being used by a lot of different people. And you're asking people how they want to use it. You're showing the different things, and it's flexible. Am I correct on that? That doesn't
Yeah.
have to
Yeah.
be the
So
same, function.
to give some
Fully function.
context about Go High Level first before I jump into BILT, like Go High Level is used for every single industry in the entire world. It doesn't
That's
matter what the
awesome.
industry is. The only difference is like what BILT is. BILT is more focused towards real estate, which means all the automations, all the pipelines, like how the system works is more focused towards real estate, and the training is more focused towards real estate. Like that's what makes it differentiated between like a regular Go High Level system or anybody else's, let's say, because there's plenty of sub 2 students that have their own systems as well.
Mhm.
But they're like really focused on maybe, for example, direct to seller or maybe only direct to agent. None of them do MLS, offer systems. Like none of them have like all of it together. And so what we did was we just made it that it can do the 4 basic, right? The direct to seller, direct to agent, MLS outreach, and of course, dispositions. We allowed it to do the 4 basic things. And if people wanted to add on and do more things to it, they're more than welcome to, right? But it gave it the basics for like, if anybody who was brand new, they could come in there and pick their avatar, right? In a sense, and then just start using it. And like some of the things we started building out too was for like the connectors and gators, because there was a lot of those. And then like here's some of the new things that we have coming FE as well. Next Monday, we have the private money lending button coming in. So it's like people who want to raise money for their deals, whether it's a wholesale deal for like Gator funds, transactional or EMD, or let's say long-term for like private money partners, or first lien positions or second lien gaps. It's like, we're always trying to improve it, but with strategic partners, right, in the community. At the end of the day, it's like we could do it all ourselves, but we're never going to be able to support everybody. And so it's like we partnered with other people to make the system better. And I'm really loving like what BILT is ultimately going to become, because like you guys that are using it right now see one part of it, versus we have a bigger vision for BILT, right?
It must be fun. It must be fun for you and David to be able to do this, this nerdy stuff, if you don't mind me saying that.
Well, it's not so much on the techie stuff. Just like the vision for BILT, right? Because I don't want to give it away right now, but like the vision for BILT is so much more than a CRM.
Nice.
Okay, so much more than a CRM. The CRM is for the people who don't know anything about real estate, or even if they do and they don't have a system, to get on a low barrier to entry, right? Specifically for, let's say, sub 2 and Gator, right? We have like a normal person's CRM is like $100. We have it $10 for them. And so it's like there's no one that competes with us, because everybody cares about money, right? We just care about making sure our support team is paid for, and that's it at the end of the day.
That's
versus
sweet.
like there's a lot of people in the community, and I'm not bashing anybody, right, by any means, but it's like they built the CRM and they're trying to sell it in the community because that is their only revenue, right? That is their only income. We could care less, right? We're giving back to the community, and as long as we can break even and pay our support team, that's all we care about.
Yeah.
Right.
Nice.
And then this will ultimately get into like more things. For example, partnerships with, whether it's they need money, whether it's dispositions, whether it's transactional coordination, right? And there's other things as well, as like, do they need help? Because let's say they're not an integrator and they can't learn the system and they can't do it, but they want to generate leads and they just want to get on the phone. It's like, okay, well, maybe we'll offer a service like that as well down the line. But just think of it like this. If you join a mentorship and you pay, I don't know, $10,000, $15,000 for a mentorship, but they just give you information and a community, but you still have to do it yourself, versus somebody offering something to handheld you, put you in the passenger seat, and let you watch how they do it for a full 6-month time frame while generating the leads. Like that's an all-in-one.
Yep.
Just don't expect it to be cheap, Yeah. That part. Totally. Like that's like, again, that's a lot more than what anybody does, right?
Yes.
And so,
yes, it is. It is.
Like there are ways, like don't get me wrong, like that's where the money is made on that side. Like if somebody
Mhm.
does go through that route, but like just as me being transparent with everybody, like the CRM just covers cost, right? Like that's the whole point of it. Like
Mhm.
it's to give you guys what you need to get started in real estate and succeed and get better so you can do bigger deals, so you can do bigger things, so you can pay for services, so you can grow.
Exactly. And it will be remembered. It'll be something that's going to come back through wanting more and growing together and having built a relationship. The relationship building is important. Now,
Mm,
before I get any further, I do want to let the group know that you have a Facebook group, right? And
correct.
now, is it, if they were to go there to, is it something that is open to them, or do they need to join BILT um,
So the real
first?
estate group right now is public. We
Okay.
have not switched it to private yet.
Okay.
The reason being, like the more the merrier for people who want to learn, right? At the end of the day, and whether that's integration or just real estate in general, like it makes
Okay.
no difference.
Good.
Um, it is open to the public.
All right, guys, make sure that you take advantage of that. And I also want to make sure that you understand where you can reach out to Mo. So on all of the social media, he goes by Mo Smart Growth. So
Mhm.
definitely reach out to him and help get connected with him. And there's also the actual CRM site that you've got. So
Yeah.
there are a
So
few ways to reach
I'm
out.
not. Yeah, I'm not gonna give out the coupon code for because like we
Mhm.
need to verify that they are sub two or greater members. So like if they do want it, they can reach out for that.
Okay.
Um, just because at the end of the day, like people paid a lot to join sub two, right? Or
Yes.
they paid a lot to join these communities, and it's only fair that they get something because they're the ones that are actually taking action. And money,
Right.
unfortunately, makes people take action, And so this is our way of giving back to the sub two community.
Nice.
We will not be giving that coupon code out to the public. And if whoever does get that coupon code, please do not share it with anybody that's not a member.
Right.
So let's say sub two or Gator, but
Yeah.
like yeah, be smart with that.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. So, Eva Lee is asking, do you have an estimated date on reveal and use to public, that sort of thing?
Where you sign up list for those. You mean BILT?
Yeah.
BILT's already live. So if you
Mhm.
go to builtcrm.com, you can go there and start using the system. It's just a monthly subscription. Like I said, if you're in sub two, you use that coupon code, it'll only be $10 a month. Um, but for the rest of the communities out there, it is full price. And we got to make sure like we're giving for a cause. At the end of the day.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um,
Yeah. That's basically free, guys.
yeah,
And it's not just the price, but it's the fact that you're um, customizing it and listening to the needs of the people, and kind of giving that um, uh,
Well,
credence.
it's like everybody who came to me that was a gator, right? Or let's say a connector. Well, initially BILT wasn't built for that. It was meant for acquisition and disposition. But
Mhm.
if you are, let's say, a connector or gator and that's your business model, well, of course, the automations need to be different. You need to have your own specific pipelines. And
Yep.
so we've kind of built those. Now, if you are, let's say, a gator and you sign up or a connector, then just reach out to support and they'll make sure you have those features into your CRM.
Nice.
And the same thing for you, Effie. Like you're looking for, let's say, a project management or sorry, a property management
Mhm.
version of it as well. And we'll go into that together, me and you, and anybody else who's a project manager. Let's say we'll hop on a Zoom and we'll go over what do you guys want, right? And then we'll kind of build that out and add that to it for the future people as well. Like we'll
Right.
continuously building it out to make it better, but those extra features will only be if somebody wants it and
Yeah.
not just for everybody, or else it makes the CRM cluttered.
Right. Of course. Of
Yeah.
course. Wow. I want to say thank you. Thank you very, very much. I think that has been a wealth of knowledge, and thanks for letting us get to know you a little bit more.
Of course.
You're surprised in many ways. And I encourage those of you who have watched this live, kick over some of the folks to view it on YouTube, and definitely make sure you reach out to Mo and for now, I think that we will be saying goodbye. So
Appreciate
thank
everybody.
you, and we'll see you next week. Thanks,
Thank you.
everyone.